Some of rock's biggest anthems were once hated, Don't Stop Believin' included. Critics slammed them, and fans ignored them. But over time, these songs became iconic. How did they go from hated to loved? Let's explore the top 10 rock songs that made that incredible transformation.
When you hear Bob Dylan sing like a Rolling Stone, I mean, he sings it with such irony, and I think that is one of the hardest things to capture in music.
10. Like a Rolling Stone, Bob Dylan. When Bob Dylan first released Like a Rolling Stone, it was met with heavy criticism. Dylan had just made the controversial shift from acoustic folk to electric rock, and many of his fans felt betrayed. The song's biting lyrics, combined with its electric sound, were a far cry from the folk anthems that had made Dylan a cultural icon. Fans at the time didn't know what to make of the new Electric Dylan, and the song's abrasive tone only added to the backlash. 9. Bohemian Rhapsody, Queen.
We imagined it was going to be called Mama Killed a Man or something, and Freddie said, no, I'm calling it Bohemian Rhapsody. We all went, oh.
Bohemian Rhapsody was anything but conventional when it was released. The combination of rock, opera, and balladry left many critics scratching their heads. The song's 6-minute length, dramatic shifts in musical style, and Freddie Mercury's larger-than-life performance made it seem like a gamble that would never pay off. Critics were skeptical, thinking the song's experimental nature would alienate listeners. But against all odds, Bohemian Rhapsody became a massive commercial success. 8. Hallelujah, Leonard Cohen.
Let me ask you about Hallelujah for a moment.
Sure.
Because it's been an interesting year for Hallelujah. If it hadn't been a song that...
When Leonard Cohen released Hallelujah, the song was largely met with indifference. Critics found it too melancholic, and the mix of spiritual and sexual themes left some listeners uncomfortable. Cohen's original version didn't have the immediate impact that one might expect from a song that would later become a worldwide phenomenon. At the time, it was just another track on a lesser-known album, and its haunting melody didn't seem to register with the masses. 7. Stairway to Heaven, Led Zeppelin.
Has its own character and personality. It even speeds up in a similar way to some pieces of more highbrow music. But my contribution was to write.
When Stairway to Heaven first hit the airwaves, it was met with mixed reactions. The song's slow build-up and its abstract, almost esoteric lyrics left some listeners cold. Even some of Led Zeppelin's loyal fans struggled to grasp its unique blend of folk and rock. Additionally, rumors of occult symbolism only fueled the controversy, with some fans even accusing the band of promoting dark themes. The track was certainly polarizing at first, and many weren't sure what to make of it. 6. Hotel California, Eagles.
One of the most legendary rock songs in history, Hotel California. What is it about that song that has made it so successful?
When Hotel California was first released, many critics viewed it as a sellout move for the Eagles. The band, known for their country rock roots, had made a sharp turn toward rock with this track, and it didn't sit well with everyone. Critics slammed the song for its pretentious lyrics and the overly arranged music, which they felt lacked the raw authenticity of their earlier work. The long instrumental outro and the cryptic, somewhat abstract lyrics made it feel like the band was trying too hard to be profound. Some fans even felt betrayed, believing that the Eagles had abandoned their roots for commercial appeal. 5. Creep, Radiohead.
Because it sounded very similar to Creep.
Which I can't hear.
Neither can I, really.
And then Lana Del Rey comes up with her.
Yes, she does, yeah.
She got sued.
Yeah.
When Creep was first released, it wasn't the breakout hit that many might expect from a song that would later become iconic. It was met with a mixture of rejection and criticism. The raw, angst-filled lyrics were considered too dark and brooding for mainstream radio, and in the UK, the BBC even banned it. Critics didn't quite know what to make of the song, and its somber tone didn't exactly align with the feel-good music that was popular at the time. In the US, the alternative scene began to embrace it, but it didn't exactly light up the charts. Over time, however, Creep grew into something much bigger. It became an anthem for outsiders and misfits, resonating deeply with anyone who had ever felt alienated or disconnected. As Radiohead evolved into one of the most influential bands of their generation, Creep found its place as a beloved classic, even though the band itself has distanced itself from it. Despite this, it remains a fan favorite and is still considered one of the band's most iconic tracks, continuing to speak to anyone who's ever felt a little out of place. 4. Achy Breaky Heart, Billy Ray Cyrus. When Billy Ray Cyrus dropped Achy Breaky Heart in the early 90s, it wasn't exactly the kind of song that made the critics jump for joy. It was considered overly commercial, a prime example of the country pop crossover that was gaining traction at the time. Country music purists were quick to call it cheesy, and even fellow country stars like Travis Tritt mocked it. The song's catchy rhythm and lighthearted lyrics didn't seem to fit with the more serious, traditional tone of country music. To many, it was just another example of pop music invading country's territory. However, Achy Breaky Heart proved its critics wrong. It became a multi-platinum hit, largely due to its infectious beat and its association with line dancing. The song turned into a cultural phenomenon, and Cyrus's rise to stardom became inextricably linked to the track. Over the years, Achy Breaky Heart transitioned from a punchline to a classic. 3. We Built This City, Starship.
Billy Joel and the like. But I digress. Rolling Stone actually named We Built This City by Starship, the #1 hit from 1985.
Released in the 80s, We Built This City was a song that struck a chord for all the wrong reasons. Critics pounced on it, accusing Starship of selling out with its overproduced pop rock sound. The song didn't fit with the band's roots in protest rock, where they had made their name as Jefferson Airplane in the 60s. Instead, they delivered a corporate-sounding anthem that seemed at odds with the rebellious spirit of their earlier work. Some even considered it a prime example of how music was being co-opted for commercial purposes during the era. Despite the critical backlash, We Built This City quickly became a commercial hit. Its catchy hook and infectious beat made it an instant earworm, and people couldn't get enough of it. Over time, the song became a nostalgic piece of 80s pop culture, beloved by fans who embraced its campy vibe. While critics still sneer at its commercialism, it continues to hold a place in the hearts of many, celebrated for its undeniable catchiness and nostalgic appeal. 2. The Sound of Silence, Simon and Garfunkel.
We decided to cover The Sound of Silence. It was the culmination of a pretty decent period.
When Simon and Garfunkel first released The Sound of Silence, it was a soft, acoustic folk song that didn't seem destined for anything big. Critics were quick to dismiss it as pretentious, with some even calling it dreary and uninspired. Paul Simon himself was initially not a fan of the track's remix. The song's rock instrumentation, added by producer Tom Wilson, was a complete departure from Simon and Garfunkel's usual sound. And Simon wasn't thrilled with this change. The remix wasn't even authorized at first, leaving Simon feeling uneasy about it. Despite the initial backlash, the remixed version hit the airwaves and quickly gained a loyal following. People began to appreciate the powerful juxtaposition of the song's deep lyrics against the rock backdrop. It soon became a defining track for Simon and Garfunkel and a cornerstone of folk rock music. It's now a timeless classic, with its iconic use in The Graduate cementing its status as one of the greatest songs ever made. 1. Don't Stop Believin', Journey.
We can't talk without talking about Don't Stop Believin'. Tell me how that started.
We were rehearsing in a warehouse.
When Don't Stop Believin' was first released, it didn't exactly win over critics. Journey's anthem was labeled as cheesy and a prime example of corporate rock. Steve Perry's soaring vocals and the piano-driven melody were seen as too formulaic and predictable. Critics felt it was overly polished and lacked substance, which made it easy for them to dismiss. But then something happened. The song found its way into popular culture in ways no one expected. Films, TV shows, and sports events started using it, and slowly it became a symbol of resilience and hope. It was adopted by countless fans who found inspiration in its message of perseverance. I'm working really hard to grow this channel, so if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.